Episode 9. We are aging like fine wine. And now in sports, we are in prime time.
Ooh.
That's right. We're in the final stretch of the NBA regular season. My New York Knicks are on a 5-game win streak, locking up the 4 seed. Nobody could have told you that this was going to happen this season. I'm absolutely ecstatic. Baseball teams, I think, is pissing the both of us off. If you look at the Mets' record, I have no reason to be that mad. I believe they're still holding up first place. They're above 500. But if you watch their play, you have every reason to be ticked off. But they're starting to get it together. Hopefully they can start to follow Degrom's lead of being the greatest human being to ever exist. The Yankees, now they're rattling off games as well. It's kind of similar. You know, they had such a horrible start. But I don't really like the play yet from them, even though they've walked away with some wins here. 4 of their last 5, you're always going to celebrate that and feel like, oh, they're back. I don't see the bats swinging like they're swinging, so both of us are pretty pissed off of our baseball teams. And most importantly, and it's something that I promised to you the last time we did our last episode, we will be doing our own mock draft, as prepared or unprepared as I am, the draft. With the draft coming up this week, obviously I'm just excited what the Giants are going to be doing. You're excited what the Jets are going to do. But we're going to tap into all the teams for round number 1 to see how horrible our picks might be or how accurate it might be. But and then, of course, we have our wonderful segment of Cash or Trash.
Absolutely, man. I mean, like you said, Yankees and Mets are both giving us aneurysms. The Yankees were quite literally the worst team in baseball for a while there. I looked today because I wanted to establish within my own brain how bad the Yankees' other 4 starters are actually, because Garrett Cole is the best pitcher in the AL currently, and they're still getting smoked. So I decided to take a look at player stats and needed to excuse myself at work because I was going to vomit. Their 2 pitcher is Jordan Montgomery right now. In terms of ERA, their 2 is Jordan Montgomery. He's got a 4.5. 3 and 4 followed closely with a 5.4. Both of them. I don't even remember which ones they were because my brain don't work.
It'll be Herman and
no, because Herman is dead last with a 6.5. Yeah, naturally. So the second best starting pitcher on the New York Yankees is a 4.5 ERA, and that just ain't gonna cut it. So, I mean, needless to say, apparently Davy Garcia is supposed to start games soon, so hopefully, he comes in and pitches to the tune of a 0. And
you gotta try something out.
Yeah, we need Davy Garcia and Luis Severino to basically come back and be prime Nolan Ryan. Otherwise, we're big fucked. Yeah, that's where we're at. Bats aren't terrible. Clint Frazier made the best play of all time today. I don't know if you saw that highlight. It's been plastered everywhere so far. It's like Mike Trout-esque diving play in the outfield. Yeah, about time. But Clint Frazier, from what I understand, because I haven't watched a ton, because I'm a bad person and a bad human being. Basically, Clint Frazier has just turned into a statue at the plate, and instead of swinging and dealing with the consequences, he's just opting to see if he can take a walk.
The only thing that's kind of helping him there is that your entire team was kind of going through it. So yeah, he's really not swinging. His big claim to fame was bad defense, good offense, and maybe now both are overblown. I don't think he had like one stretch where the defense got exposed, but then other than that, he was like pretty much just mediocre, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think he's like bottom tier defensive player, but I don't think he's great. He's definitely not great by any means, but he's definitely not like atrocious. And then
when he was getting playing time, he was taking the cover off the ball, but now he's looking at pitches, he's indecisive, but your whole team was going through it, so it's like, when do we start talking about Judge?
If he breaks out, it's not even a question anymore. Like, he's going to be the everyday player. It's just a matter of time. I'm convinced that what we talked about last time with the managers is true, because whatever analytics fucking moron is making lineup decisions for the Yankees is fucking us big time. Because listen, I'm all for getting Aaron Hicks out of the the 3-hole or the 4-hole or whatever, moving him down the lineup, figuring out a spot where you can play him and not have him be completely detrimental to the team. But the guy has a home run in each of the last 2 games, and they benched him today because they set the lineup a week ago, and they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, It's becoming more evident all the time. I mean, listen, it's either somebody else calling pulling the strings, GM, front office, whatever it is, or they just try to get too cute.
So
Someone
dumb.
went off. Was it Michael K? I think it was Michael K.
Probably, yeah.
It was like, stop trying to outsmart the Rays with your crazy lineups, your openers, and all that
Yeah, because
stuff.
they use an opener.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you don't need to do that. You don't have the pitching to do that. And then you're trusting the wrong guys to be the opener versus who's coming in after. Just don't try to outsmart the Rays. You're not a small market team without the funds where you need to be forced to be these two smart teams. You have the resources. Just play baseball. But it'll frustrate the shit out of a fan, I can only imagine. For you guys, I mean, I get driven crazy for my team just from the effort level that I've been seeing in some of these losses. And again, our record's not as bad enough to hit any sort of panic button. But I can't stand watching bad baseball. I don't care what our record is. But yeah, that's where we're at. Good win today, good series win against the Nats, so I'm in a positive mode. I just hate when we do this back and forth of good baseball, atrocious baseball.
Yeah.
I want consistency.
Yeah, Yanks dropped one today, but they won, I think, the first 2 or 3 of the series against the Indians, so not terribly mad. I think we definitely won the series, but shit game today where fucking Nick Nelson came into the game, gave up a whole bunch of runs, and then he fucking sent his ass right back where he belongs to AAA today. Optioned him immediately.
That'll do it.
Yep, fuck that guy.
Some of the topic had to do with a few of the things I'm going to bounce off you for cash or trash. But I wanted you to go first.
All right, I'm down.
I wanted you to lead off.
Yeah, actually, usually I do the minimal work. But this time I actually have like 6 or 7 different ones. One of them in particular I'm gonna end with because it pertains to the draft. Something that you may or may not have heard of, depending on how much you're paying attention to the draft, but it is something that is coming up constantly, and I think is bullshit. Nonetheless, cash or trash, the new NFL uniform number rules. So they recently NFL expanded the number pools that players at certain positions can wear. So there's been a whole bunch of hype around, receivers wearing single digits, more college-y feel. Cash or trash, new uniform rules. What do you think?
I'm completely cash on this. I really don't understand what the gripe is. I know Tom Brady came out and was like fucking fuming about it, and I guess maybe as a quarterback it's a big deal of because you have your interior defensive lineman versus your edge rusher. I really don't know. Listen, it's going to be something I'm going to have to educate myself on. I didn't realize it was going to have such an impact on call-outs for defenses and stuff like that, and who's blocking whom and all that stuff. I really didn't think that this had anything to do with it, and it was going to be an issue. I think it's cash. Let them wear. Listen, open up the pool to wear whatever the hell you want.
All for
I
it, bro.
like it.
I think Quinnen Williams tweeted out something about like himself wearing number 1, and I think that'd be fucking sick. So I'm all for it. Right there with you, Cash.
Double zero.
Hell yeah, bro. Here's an interesting one because this I made these questions when I was Omega tilted. The Yankees are not a playoff team. Cash or trash?
I feel like you always go back to this. It's how their window closed. They're not a playoff team, whatever like that. Dude, it's weird because I'm going to contradict myself with one of my questions I asked you. I refuse to look at the team on paper, and I don't care if it means wild card team, second wild card team, whatever, but I refuse to look at the team on paper and say this team's not a playoff team. So I'm going trash. I understand your concern, and yeah, if the play continues to go on where these players that are having their insufficiencies, they continue, then I'll be like, hey, you know what? This is just who they are, and I have to accept that they're bad. They're bad or mediocre. But right now, no, dude. They're a playoff team. Hence the reason why you're so mad. We know that they're a playoff caliber team. So yeah, I'm going trash. Yeah, trash on yours.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I said, it came from a point of anger earlier in the week.
A dark place.
The next question comes from the exact opposite place. As yesterday, the Yankees beat the Indians. Garrett Cole is the best pitcher in the AL. Cash or trash?
I'll go cash, but it's not a runaway cash. And the reason why it's our boy that we talked about. Shohei Ohtani, I think, is going to give him a run. I mean, if Shohei has taken my closer idea and thrown it out the damn window because he said, nah, dude, I'm going to pitch a 1.048 ERA while hitting balls all over the place. I'm pretty sure he's given up no runs while hitting all the runs. So
Yeah, his bat's obscene.
yes, Cole, it's cash. Cole is the best pitcher in the AL, and only the AL, not baseball. That's Degrom.
Nope, I said AL.
But Shohei's like right there, which is awesome for baseball.
Yeah, I don't see him on the list in terms of ERA, but it's probably just because he hasn't pitched as many games. He's probably not eligible to be on this list or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Garrett Cole pitching to a 1.71. Guy made Shane Bieber look bad last night or yesterday.
Yeah,
last night, one of those. So yeah, he's a freak.
Yeah, cash on that.
Now this is where I'm back and forth. I have a guy in mind. I have another question, but it's one too many questions. So you know what? Let's go with this one. Cash or trash? Byron Buxton is an MVP candidate. Not just now, because obviously right now he would be an MVP candidate, but it's early in the season. In general, throughout the length of the season, do you think Byron Buxton is capable of winning the MVP? Cash or trash?
Yeah, why not? Cash. He's literally doing what we've been talking about for years for Byron Buxton, right? It's like this guy has the talent to pull this off and waiting for it. It's like a 5-tool-esque type player, power, speed, contact, whatever you want to do. I'm totally on board with it. I think it would be awesome. Not for him to win it, but if he's in top 5 at the end of the season, it means you've been watching exciting baseball, not only from that whole team because they have great talent, but just because this is a name that we've been hearing about, talking about, and waiting for that big breakout year. And last year was a little bit of it, I think, is where you start to get some of his magic. We're like, whoa, is this the Byron Buxton we've been talking about? And then now he's like, no, seriously, this is who I am. I hate it when we have these prospects that we talk about, so crazy with all this talent, and they don't end up being anything, or they end up getting injured or something like that. Jerkson Profar is the first name that blows into my mind when I start thinking that. I hate that. I like when we've been hearing about this kid, and here he is. He's here to stay. So would love that. Cash on that.
Hell yeah, love to hear it. No, I mean, obviously I don't really care because, when it comes to the playoffs, if the Yankees meet them, they're going to win anyway because, Yankees Twins. Seeing him finally play at this level where, we've seen the flashes the last couple years. We've been hearing about him for like 5 years now. We've seen the flashes where, he makes one of those plays in the outfield and he makes a great heads-up base running play. But the bat just hasn't been there. Now he's, smoking the ball. So good, great to see, great for baseball, obviously. And the last one, like I said, big pertaining to the draft. Cash or trash, Devonta Smith's weight is an issue.
Trash.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's
God.
It's trash. It's trash. They're making a big deal. Listen, we've talked about this, though. The media and the analysts and the people that talk about the draft and stuff like that, they have to get dialogue going. They have to get something to talk about for people to worry about, because if things get too stale where it's too cut and dry and, this guy's just good and this is going to draft him, and they don't create sort of smoke screens or different thought processes, what the hell they have nothing to talk about. So they need to peddle something. And if they're going to peddle this weight thing, it's false. In today's NFL, it means less than it's ever meant. In the past, with more physical football of how these corners or safeties or linebacker, however they're playing, it totally matters with your size, strength, ability, and all that stuff. Now, the wide receiver is much more protected. So, no, the weight's not going to be an issue, and his elusiveness is going to be an issue for defenses. So,
it blows my mind that they can sit there and watch this guy torch team after team after team, college football playoffs, making people look bad, making Mac Jones be in the Heisman conversation, and they're like, he's only 165 pounds. You can't draft him early. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Yeah. This guy's gonna torch everybody. Like, I could fully understand if he had been hurt a couple times and it was because, we're talking weight because he doesn't have the muscle mass and he's injury prone or something along those lines. There is no history of that. So why they're like, he weighed in at 165, can't draft him. It's like, what? What?
No, it
blows my mind.
I don't see it being an issue. I think you're gonna see a lot of what he's done in college translate to the NFL, and people are gonna feel real about. And then you know what? He'll put all that to shame for the future wide receivers who are small. That's gonna be the good part about it.
Hell yeah. All right, on to yours, bro. That's 5 for me.
Oh, it's 5. I thought you
That's
had
5.
37, like you said.
Nah, I had one extra one, but I mean it's pretty obvious what the answer is.
You omitted it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it was cash or trash. Trout and Otani's the best duo in baseball, and right now it's not even a question. They're the best duo in baseball.
Love that. I mean, I'm cash on that.
Otani hit another one today. Leads the league in home runs. Because why not, right?
Yeah. So this one goes back to what we were discussing. I mean, even though I said don't panic, and they're starting to rattle off some wins, but we don't like the way they look. So, because I said they are a playoff team, and they weren't playing like one, and still, in my opinion, not playing like one, if the Yankees' struggles continued until May, so through April, so we can no longer use this, into May, does someone need to get fired?
I don't think you need to fire anybody, so I'm going to go ahead and say trash. You don't need to fire somebody, but they better start heating up the trade talks, right? At that point, you got to start being like, hey, unless Severino comes back or whoever else comes back, like Herman starts pitching better, or, Davy Garcia comes up and looks really good, they better, like, if there isn't intense rumors from the Yankees about a number 2 starting pitcher or a number 3 starting pitcher, somebody who you can slot in towards the top of the rotation and have, come in and make an instant impact, then at that point somebody's got to get fired. Right now, it's too early.
I mean anybody. Batting coach, pitching coach, no?
Nah, I don't think so. Because I think a lot of that has to, like, the Yankees in general are a pretty streaky team. I think they're capable of staying hotter than most teams because they kind of they tend to offset each other. But I don't know. It's like a weird scenario there.
Listen, it would be I accept it because it would be crazy for someone to get fired by May. I was just throwing it out there, a Yankee organization expecting more, but here's what it is. I'm gonna bounce, pun intended, over to basketball real quick.
Yeah.
But this goes every type of super team that you can have in any sport. But let's use the Nets as an example. The Nets championship is less meaningful due to their built super team. Okay.
I think that I think that's cash. I think that goes for all the teams. Now, in terms of stuff like, when you're comparing, so obviously, I'm going to reference other super teams. The first one that comes to mind are the Heat and the Cavs, right? You talk about those teams. In terms of, like, comparing the championships between LeBron and Jordan, where, in Jordan's era, it was just happened to be that team, I still think that Bulls team would qualify in this era as a super team. It was just built naturally. You know what I mean?
They were actually like the Warriors.
Yeah.
They were like the 2015 Warriors.
Yeah, and I think the same thing befell the Warriors, where before KD ended up there, it was like, oh shit, like the Warriors, Steph, Clay, whatever. They're a problem. As soon as Kevin Durant goes there, it's like, what a fucking cop out, right? So I think that has an effect everywhere. I think it was less so with the Heat because it was the first time we saw it, and the Cavs clearly were just fucking completely inept at every level of giving LeBron any sort of help to make the push. And so in that aspect, I didn't blame LeBron, and it was like the first time we saw it. But at this point, LeBron with the Heat, and then LeBron goes back to the Cavs and adds Kevin Love and Kyrie, and it's like everybody is looking to build a super team. So I think it does diminish the value of the championships a little bit.
But all of those, I mean, Miami was pretty bad. Nobody likes to admit it. Miami was pretty bad.
Yeah, but at the time, nobody thought about it that way because it was like the first one. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. But honestly, the Nets are the worst ever because there's not one. What, Joe Harris and like fucking Karis LeVert are the only two guys that are
Karis LeVert
of the original squad. Everything else is just complete artificial manufactured. Yeah. Sign this guy, trade for that guy, and having the big three of James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. If you're a fan, I know. Listen, if you've been waiting for winning, I get it. If you've been doing what I understand, you're still going to cheer. But as a fan, you gotta feel a little different winning with this team, where it's like, well, of course you won, rather than winning a championship. It's like, wow, what a tall task to do. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, fuck them. Number 3, Mets will go further than the Yankees this season. I mean, sheer distance. Cash or
Damn.
trash?
Obviously, I'm down on the Yankees. I'm pretty high on the Mets because they look good, and Jacob Degrom. This is another fun one. You think Jacob Degrom wins MVP? Because I think right now he's a lock.
Can you answer my question?
Damn, man. I'm asking you a question.
Of course I do.
Okay, fair. Damn, dude. I'm trying to think of like potential playoff matchups too, or I feel like the AL is better.
If one gets bounced in the wild card and one makes the division series,
that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think of like potential matchups. I think that might be Cash. I'm gonna go with Cash because I feel like the AL is probably more better than the NL in terms of like the general playoff level teams. I feel like the Dodgers are way ahead of everybody in the NL, and then there's some teams that are good, and I feel like the Mets could just not even that it would be like a cop out where they only have to play the Dodgers because you got to play the Dodgers, but I feel like the Yankees could easily run into the Astros in the wild card or some bullshit.
Yeah, but I see the Braves being a little bit better than the Astros at this point. I think it's actually for the first time tougher of the path for the Yankees to get to the playoffs and get through the lower teams than it is the top teams. The top teams in the NL are pretty tough. I consider the Mets being one of them talent-wise, but Dodgers, Braves, those are two elite squads. People expected big things from the Braves this year. The Mets being one of them, and then if everyone's healthy, we don't really know what the Padres look like with their full squad going absolutely nuts with all their new additions. And then obviously Fernando Tatis doing Fernando Tatis things. So they're another team in the mix. So the top end of the NL is pretty tough. But anyways, yes, I agree with you. I'm going Cash. I think the Mets finish further because, of course, the Mets are winning the World Series. Next. Jacob Degrom will finish as a top 5 pitcher all time.
So do I think he should be considered a top 5 pitcher of all time? Yes. Do I think he will be?
Tell me when he's done at age 42 when he retires.
For me personally, Cash. It's Cash. He's gross. He's unhittable. He's pumping 102 over and over again. Nobody can hit him. Doesn't matter what pitch he's throwing. He's throwing a 93-mile-an-hour slider. It's breaking 45 inches. He's throwing unhittable pitch after unhittable pitch. Nobody can touch him. It's not close. He's blowing everybody away. The problem with that, in terms of general public, is wins.
Yeah.
People put way too much emphasis on wins, where Jacob Degrom is getting maybe 1 run a game out of the Mets for whatever reason. They can't hit when Degrom's on the mound. Degrom has more RBIs for himself than his team has given him help. So he's going to end up with no wins. It's the same. It's the Clayton Kershaw effect, where if you look at Clayton Kershaw, there's 8 seasons in a row where he had a sub-2 ERA or some fucking ridiculous bullshit where he was very clearly the best pitcher in the league, and he's not even going to sniff 300 wins. It's not even going to be close. He'd have to pitch for the next 8 years and win 20 a season to get the 300 wins. And there's going to be a lot of people that are look at DeGrom's wins. No, look at his ERA. It's like a sub-2 for his career. What the fuck are you talking about?
But I'm telling you, the writers and the readers of baseball statistics are going to change their view on wins. Those
are very, very knowledgeable baseball heads like ourselves, who are looking at this and they're like, Jacob Degrom was fucking gross for 12 years in a row. Yeah. Nobody can hit him. He was the best pitcher in baseball. He won 4 Cy Youngs. Blah 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 blah.
Exactly.
But the general public looks at a stat line. They don't pay attention to the year in year out kind of stuff. They're gonna look at a stat line and be like, yeah, but look at his wins. Fuck you. I know. Fuck you. Jacob, go in Jacob Degrom fastball once. Try it.
No, I think the new stat line though it's not new at all, obviously, but the new stat line that people start to cling to even as a casual will be ERA, and when they start to do that, they'll start to see who's the real good pitchers and who's not. The years of the Rick Porcello winning Cy Young because he had 20 wins with a 4 ERA, those days are over. They're behind us. I'm letting you know right now from here on out that's no longer a thing.
I'm all for it, man.
So I am too. And here's a fun one. I think none of us are a fan of this sport. I don't think many in America are, but there's been a hot topic that has pretty much lived and has already died. I don't know. You would have more info in this. The Super League. Cash or trash?
I mean, it's already gone, so it's got to be trash, right? I don't even have a fucking clue what this was.
The idea. How about the idea? The idea of the Super League.
I mean, had it been successful, cash, right? I mean, I don't think it can be bad. I mean, if the biggest teams and the biggest markets in the world in football or baseball or whatever wanted to make a league like that, I feel like it would probably be pretty successful as well. And it'd be cool to watch as long as it didn't impede with a standard NFL season or a standard MLB. Yeah, hell yeah, fucking take the best teams out of the SEC, take the best Big 10, Big 12, whatever, and build the fucking U.S. there's already Conference USA, but the United States Conference or some shit.
Yeah, do whatever.
And build the ultimate where you're putting up the best talent against the best talent every time instead of having the 73-0 thrashing of Alabama versus Western Kentucky State.
All I'll say about the Super League without knowing the details or really caring much about it because of the sport is that if there was ever a chance of me ever getting into soccer and putting my time in there and being interested in it, it probably would have been something like the Super League.
Yep.
So that's the only reason why I would have went cash on it and was slightly excited because, again, maybe you can use my opinion because that's who they're trying to attract as new viewers. But I'm not the guy to ask because I'm not a fan of the sport, so I don't care if some fuck shit happens to the normality of the sport itself, and I'm sitting there like, oh, I'd watch more. But then again, maybe there's some dicks out there that's like, wow, they're doing 7-inning doubleheaders. That's just quick enough for me to watch baseball. And maybe I'm the equivalent to that asshole for soccer. So if that's fine, I'll back out my opinion on it. But for me, it was cash because I think if there was any chance of me watching, it would have been something like that. But
yeah,
I just wanted to throw it out there.
The full extent of my knowledge of the Super League was that somebody who I follow pretty closely on Twitter made some very vague joke that I didn't even understand because I don't watch soccer. And now apparently it's already collapsed on itself. So, yeah, that's a wrap for Super League.
Well, Super League. March of 2021 to April
March
2021.
R.I.P. Long list.
All right, buddy.
That's it. Here we go. Hopefully this works the way I want it to. So as long as everything worked correctly, we're now looking at what is going to be our 100% correct mock draft. Place your bets now. You can hit 32 bets in a row. I'm sure you'll win some money.
I'm going to just put it out right now. If my draft is 100% perfect, every confirmed listener will get $100 from me.
There you go. That's fair. All right.
Got to be in it to win it, though. Got to be in it to win it.
So we're using the Draft Network's mock draft machine. Fun little tool here. Gives us the obviously updated draft order. Gives us their personal predictive board to use to place each of the players. We're going... Now, there are two ways to do a mock draft. There is what you think is going to happen, what you think the team will actually do, and what you think should happen. So we're going with what we think should happen, correct? We're going with what we think the team is going to do. Yeah.
Yeah, smart, stupid, or in between.
For the obvious example, very quickly, you're going to see at spot 3, where the San Francisco 49ers pick, what we think should happen is not Mac Jones. What we're most likely going to pick there, because of what we're hearing, is Mac Jones going 3. Nonetheless, let's get it started. Andrew, coach, is going to go 1. He's going to do all the odds, because that way he gets the Giants pick. I'm going to go 2. Do the even, so I get the Jets pick. So with the first overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, who are the Jaguars taking?
They're taking Kyle Pitts. No, I'm just kidding. They're taking Trevor Lawrence.
Not even a question.
Off the rip.
Easiest pick in the whole draft, Trevor Lawrence. No-brainer. Clemson standout. Lord and Savior of the Jaguars. For me, New York Jets fan, obviously, our hero, Joe Douglas, put us in a good spot last season. Mekhi Becton looks really good. Made a whole bunch of nice moves in free agency. Obviously, they traded away Sam Darnold. Jets don't have a fucking quarterback. What are we going to do? Zachary Wilson, Brigham Young University, going to come in, immediately be the starter, not even a question, probably won't even be, a question of any kind of training camp nonsense. Definitely the man. I don't think there's any other way this draft goes at 2.
Yeah, I just think he's one of the overrated quarterback prospects in my opinion. But
that's your opinion. In this case, we're doing what we think is going to happen. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure you agree with this pick, Zach Wilson.
No, it's happening. It's happening. Yep. It's happening. Pick number 3. Do I agree with it? Nah. But I don't believe this one's a smokescreen. I think it ends up happening. At number 3, we have Mac Jones going to the 49ers.
Yep.
It's really dumb in my opinion. I don't even like him at all. The quarterbacks, I think it should be Fields. But it looks like Mac Jones is going.
Yeah, feels like Fields is just getting hosed here. Real bad.
What we talked about before. It's fake news nonsense. It's just shit to screw. It's just to shake everything up because they don't want a clear-cut linear draft. They want people,
Now at 4, an interesting spot. Definitely a possible trade out here, trade back.
It is possible.
Atlanta Falcons have clearly shown their interest in maintaining the Matt Ryan project, trying to win with Matt Ryan. Very interesting spot here. What I think happens is most likely Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida, hard carried that team. They were not the same team when he was not there. He is listed as a tight end. He will do whatever you need him to do. He will block. He does it well. He's going to go out there and make you look real bad in coverage, regardless of what position you play, whether that be trying to match up with a linebacker, a safety, a corner. Kyle Pitts is a matchup nightmare. And I believe that the Atlanta Falcons don't think they're done. I think they can still get back to a Super Bowl with Matt Ryan. And I think Kyle Pitts is the most likely the weapon they're going to choose on offense to make that happen.
I hate the pick. I personally think they would look to get their future quarterback, especially since all the defaming has pushed Justin Fields into their lap. But you got them at Kyle Pitts. But
I do.
That's fine. I mean, here's a fun one. Here's another one was like, the whole world knows what you should do, but now there's some nonsense going on that might make you rethink. And I'm going to follow the nonsense
I've seen
one
the Bengals
benefits
do dumber
me
things
as a possibility future on down the draft. But also, it's now that I'm watching that the Bengals are taking freaking LSU players and all this stuff. I think they're going to go with Jamar Chase and reunite the duo.
Oh, it hurt. It really hurt.
I know what they should do.
I felt Joe Burrow's pain when I clicked draft right there. Oh, man.
But he's the guy that makes me think they're taking Chase. So it's like, that's the crazy part, is that the real thing they should do is put a wall up at left tackle. This guy is supposed to be generational. And protect the guy from losing his leg like he did last year. But no, apparently Joe Burrow's making it at least somewhat clear. I want my boys back in town just so that they can watch me get carted off into the ambulance and run around with whoever the backup quarterback is. So listen, it is what it is. That's why I have that pick on there.
I'm glad we're in the same spot there, where I can't understand the pick, but the rumors are that that's the pick. Blows my mind that they're not going to put Penei Sewell in front of Joe Burrow. They're going to let him die again.
Now, keep in mind, with each of our picks, consider who's still on the board. Because I know who you had in your head based on who else might go. But now that you know Penei Sewell's still on the board, keep that in mind.
It is very interesting. However, the Dolphins are far from in need of a tackle here. No, they would love to see Sewell off the board here because that means they get their choice of Chase or Waddle or Smith. In this case, I personally think Devonta Smith is the better player, but I have Jalen Waddle in this scenario going at number 6 to the Dolphins because I know it's nuts, but for whatever reason, like I said earlier, people think that Devonta Smith's weight is a big issue, and I genuinely think that they will take Waddle over over Devonta Smith, and it blows me away. But that's
Nobody's getting that $100. Like,
dude, it ain't good.
Nobody's getting that $100.
It's bad, bro.
Wow.
It's so stupid.
I mean, that just whew. Wow. Jalen Waddle going 6th was not on my bingo card at all.
I'm telling you, people, they love those kind of players. I don't get it.
I mean, with that happening, it's, for me, with offensive tackle, maybe not being the number one need, but still being a need in general, and it sets you up for 10 years of success, Detroit just takes Penei Sewell if he's there falling in the lap at 7. No
All
question.
for it, right there with you.
No question. You do not pass something like that.
If he falls to 7, I think Detroit throws a party. I mean, that's just a freebie there. You throw Sewell in there, it's not a question.
Yep.
Obviously, they just made the Jared Goff trade. Now they have Jared Goff instead of Matt Stafford. So I think, you set up, you give Jared Goff the season. If they don't think Jared Goff's the guy, then you have a left tackle for whoever's next. Works out perfect. Works out perfect.
This one's an interesting pick because this one's a trade candidate. This one's
big trade candidate.
Best available candidate. This one's of anything.
Yeah, Carolina, interesting. Obviously, they think Sam Darnold might be the guy, so I would assume that quarterback is not in the cards here. However, do I think it's a bad move if they take Fields or if they take Lance? Of course not. You take the guy that you think is gonna help you succeed. If you want to have him duel it out in camp, go ahead. It works for me. So quarterback's an option here. Tackle's an option here. Wide receiver, not really, because DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson and Curtis Samuel.
They got a good core there.
Yeah, they have a pretty nice core there. Personally, I think they go Slater, because I think that I don't think they make the trade for Sam Darnold if they don't want to at least have him start one season. So I think that's definitely the move here. Now, yep. I think it's definitely a good pick. Obviously, like we said, this could be a trade candidate. We're not predicting trades, so.
But all that's went 1 through 8, it's another scenario where, listen, something just fell in your lap that probably should not have fallen in your lap due to stupid, fuck shit, and that leaves Justin Fields going to the Broncos, and I think they pull the trigger and they don't pull it fast enough.
I'm a huge fan of that pick with what we have there.
The Drew Lock experiment has been fun. He got caught rapping some songs on the sideline. Everybody loved him, but other than that, he's been pretty terrible, in my opinion. And I think that if Justin Fields is right there, who was originally the number 2 ranked quarterback in a draft that has the number 1 quarterback prospects since Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning. Yeah, sorry, they're clicking that one, and they're gonna be pretty happy.
I'm a big fan of that pick for sure. That's exactly what I would have done as well. So, and I mean, the last 3 picks have been not even a question. Yeah, given what our board here has left, not even a question there. Justin Fields at 9 to the Broncos. Moving on to number 10, I got the Dallas Cowboys. Your favorite team. Ordinarily this is in years past, it's not even a question. Devonta Smith is the flashy player. Jerry Jones loves those guys. He takes them. Dak throws for 6,000 yards and they go 6-10 and lose because they can't play defense. This year, I think they're different. I think the big name here, not even a question, Patrick Surtain. He's a problem. He can match up with anybody, and he fits their need so well. It's perfect. It's the big name defense, flashy defensive guy. It is Jerry Jones' dream to get a flashy defensive player. He fits the needs of the Cowboys. It's Patrick Surtain in this scenario, straight to the Cowboys. They shouldn't even hesitate on that one.
I have no argument to that one. I had from the go that Surtain was going there. If maybe by circumstances they went to the Lions or something like that, or someone higher up, then they'd go Farley. But I had Surtain going there.
If he's there, it's got to be the pick.
Now, here's my boys. These are my guys.
I got a feeling I know what's coming out of you.
No, well, maybe. I mean, given this is circumstantial, right?
Yep.
Because in no planet would I have had Waddle get taken way up like you did. But in the circumstances where I thought this player would be gone, I'd be going Micah Parsons, right? That's it. Micah Parsons is my guy, but I'm not. Because the unlikely dropped Devonta Smith all the way into our lap at number 11, and we can shore up this wide receiver core for a little bit more of an extended time, rather than just relying on the contract of Kenny G. I'm going to have to go Devonta Smith in this situation. Again, it's falling victim, not victim, but just falling victim to this is the circumstances, the cards we were dealt that, wow, we got a player we didn't expect to be there. It's at a position of somewhat need. Yeah, go give me another weapon for Daniel Jones.
I'm a big fan of that pick. Like I said, I knew exactly where you were going. I wasn't even hesitating on that one. Devonta Smith, definitely the move there. Moving on to the Eagles, had the chance 8 drafts in a row to pick a good wide receiver, a starting wide receiver, made all the wrong choices over and over again. They don't know what they're doing, very clearly. They're floundering. They need help. Help is not here. The top 3 wide receivers are all gone. Do they reach for a Rashad Bateman and Elijah Moore? I don't think so. I don't see it coming. Kadarius Toney down here. I don't see that coming. Obviously, team needs are here. Tight end. There's nobody. So that's tough. The next down there is cornerback J.C. Horn out of South Carolina is there.
Or Caleb Farley.
Big name. What?
Or Caleb Farley.
Caleb Farley out of Virginia or Virginia Tech, whichever one. Yeah, for sure. But in terms of needs, you gotta fill the corner need. They've had one for a while. They managed to win a Super Bowl with questionable defensive back play. Being that there's no wide receivers in this draft, you're gonna have to live with whoever they took last year, whatever Jalen Reagor.
Who are you going to the 2 corners?
J.C. Horn out of South Carolina, the Eagles.
I like that. I like that.
They need help.
So this one's fun.
Yep.
This one's fun.
Yeah.
Because right now, again, to a lot of these people from the Giants pick all the way down to like the Vikings, all the way down to the Patriots pick are trade candidates, whether it's up, down, or in between, because depending on the position they're targeting, right? So if players were not there and the Giants wanted an edge, the Giants would trade down, or they'd look to.
Yeah.
But all that aside, I think it's important that they protect, again, a young quarterback who's shown that he's probably better than everybody out of his entire draft class.
Yeah.
And that maybe he's better than Listen, this guy could get better. So I think in this position, taking the best available offensive tackle, guard, offensive line help that you can get is going to be the way to go. So I have Christian Darrisaw going to the Chargers.
I'm a big fan of that. Obviously, they shored up that quarterback very quickly. Justin Herbert looked real good last year, but they could not protect him to save their lives. Christian Darrisaw, pretty much a no-brainer here. Take the best offensive tackle available, slap him in there, make sure Justin Herbert doesn't get the Joe Burrow treatment. I'm right there with you. Now we move on to the Vikings at 14. This one is very interesting. I feel like interior offensive line is the biggest need here, right? I don't think they reach for an Elijah Vera-Tucker. This is probably a spot where a trade is pretty likely. I think a lot of the spots after Carolina are big trade spots, especially because I'm sure the Patriots pick looks pretty certain right now. I'm sure you're looking at the same thing I'm looking at.
Yeah.
For me, I think a player like Micah Parsons is super hard to pass on.
That's another circumstantial one. I mean,
he's hanging around.
He's also a versatile player, so
he's hanging around. My other big one here is this is where I think they're going to go. Is going to be Caleb Farley. I think the deterioration of Xavier Rhodes happened way quicker than they thought it was going to. Their secondary is not what it used to be. Harrison Smith isn't even at that level anymore. So they definitely need help in the secondary.
You don't have Micah going?
Not yet, no. I took Caleb Farley to the Vikings. It's a wild one.
All right.
Yeah.
That's I cannot believe Micah's still on the board.
I know. It's an awkward spot that he's in, where he is a player who we think should go really high and won't because of the circumstances of the draft.
I mean, but then that this is it's not even that interesting. This is where we get to a circumstance where this is actually totally possible, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is where a normal lineup of position to a real draft could happen, and I have Trey Lance going to the New England Patriots. without them having to trade up.
Hammer it. I'm right there with you.
Not
even a
trade up.
hesitation there.
Yep.
Just make that happen. I get 16. I'm with Arizona. Offense.
This is where our boys got to go.
Offense terrific. Defense atrocious.
Yeah.
They were like 8-8 or 7-9 or 9-7 last year, and it was very clearly not the offense's fault. Not even a question. You need to get a defensive player. Look who's here. Micah Parsons running a 4.3 240. He's a mutant. Just make the pick.
Yeah.
They should be sprint. Kyler Murray should be running a 40-yard dash up to give it to Roger Goodell.
Yeah. No, that's definitely the move to make.
I don't even think it's a question.
If they can get that lucky to land Micah Parsons, they need it. They definitely need it. The Raiders, interesting. The Raiders, they're a team that just blows my mind every first round, every single year, because they walk away with not too great picks. Remember the year they had 3 picks, they walked away with dog dirt in my opinion.
Not great.
If they go an area of need, which I think they should, you get an offensive tackle, right? And I have our best available at Tevin Jenkins, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really don't see the I don't see the benefit of getting too cute. So yeah, I think you just take the best offensive tackle available again in the real draft. If that means some other tackles that we had go drops to them, that'd be a blessing. But in this case, it would be Tevin Jenkins, which is totally possible in reality during
100%.
On Thursday.
100%. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Whether they think Derek Carr is the guy or not, I don't know. They haven't been able to protect anybody since forever. They got to figure something out. Tevin Jenkins, stick him in there, see what happens. Hope he's that dude. Now I get what's up?
Here's a fun one.
The Dolphins again. So obviously, earlier we took the wide receiver. Now we're in a position where obviously they don't need another wide receiver. Wide receiver is kind of, it's really good at the top and then really good in like the second, third round. Late first, wide receiver is kind of iffy. The best edge rushers are all here. Personally, I'm a bigger Azeez Ojulari fan, and edge is definitely a need for the Dolphins. That being said, Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia is the pick for the Miami Dolphins at 18. I'm just slightly bigger fan of Ojulari than I am of Jalen Phillips.
Well, Jalen Phillips, he dies right? Doesn't he have made of glass?
I'm not even sure, but I think I like the play of Ojulari just slightly better than Jalen Phillips. That's where I have them going. Moving on, number 19, Washington football team. Whatever they're going to be called.
They still don't have a name. I don't think that they could go defense, even though their defense is solid. I mean, there's a linebacker need, a safety need. I don't think they're reaching a safety here. I still think it's important to get protection on the offensive line. But if they're valuing or they're looking for need at linebacker, best available, you got it's pronounced Zaven Collins.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably end up where they're going to end up going. Like I said, in reality, it's going to end up being who's the best available linebacker there. Obviously, if some whack universe where Micah Parsons drop over there, they'd be drilling over that too. But that, I think even we had him lower there where he'll normally go. So yeah. It's that most likely that'll be the pick.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad spot, a bad pick. I think in this scenario, there's a potential for a trade back and take an offensive tackle later, maybe an Alex Leatherwood kind of guy.
Yeah.
But Zaven Collins definitely fits there. I personally am a Jeremiah Owusu fan, but definitely right up there is Zaven Collins. It's a good pick. The Bears at 20.
Bears.
Guess what?
The Bears.
Guess what? They need a quarterback. Guess what?
Yeah.
There aren't any. Obviously, we took them all. God help the Bears. They're in trouble here again. I mean, very clearly just can't figure that out. personally, like, I think Allen Robinson's gone too. I don't think he plays for them, even though they tagged him.
Yeah, me neither.
But we're in a spot again where there's no wide receivers either. So they're in a really.
Are they in a reach no matter what type of position?
I think they're kind of stuck. Yeah. I think
so.
They probably try to pair somebody with Khalil Mack in this scenario, because I don't think there's much else there.
Well, it wouldn't even be in this scenario. They'd move up. You know, they would have already been in one of our picks.
Before about an hour ago, it probably would have been Christian Barmore. But word on the street is there's some concerns from teams about Christian Barmore. Whether that's what are they
reaching for?
It's I mean, it's got to be, for me. Again, like I said, I'm not as high on Jalen Phillips. It's got to be Kwity Paye out of Michigan, the edge player.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
it's rough,
you have them make trades, getting rid of players. So you have them going Kwity Paye. See, I had, and now he's still on the board. I had them going super reach for Bateman.
Rashad, I said I couldn't reach that far for a wide receiver for them. Yeah. And Bateman is a really good player, and I wouldn't mind seeing him on the Jets, but still, like, that's a tough one.
Well, according to us, you might get your chance.
Please don't.
So that leaves us with the Colts. Colts in a similar scenario, man. Their biggest positions and needs, not a lot of guys that are available that, I don't know, like you said, wouldn't end up being a reach.
Yeah, I think at this point there's not a ton of, like, real, true, like, reach players. I think, you know, there's a lot of similar talent at this point where nobody else sticks out above the rest.
Exactly. So then I'm gonna have them. I'm gonna have them falling with Rashad Bateman then.
That's fair.
That's what they're gonna end up going with. Kind of beef up the wide receiver core there.
Yeah.
They just made an investment into Wentz, so they have to give Carson Wentz by any means something to differentiate his life over in Philadelphia.
Offensive line still pretty solid there. Defense definitely pretty good. Wide receiver questionable. Ty, don't really know what he's got left. Michael Pittman looked good, not great. So, you know, just keep adding, keep throwing the dart till something sticks, right? Rashad Bateman, I like it. 22, I get the Titans, who are, I feel like, in a really tough spot, where they looked like they were a team that was built for a long-term success. That's fallen apart really quickly for me. Their defense looked really bad last year after it looked really good the year before. And I think they need to definitely add to that. Their secondary was horrible. So that being said, Greg Newsome, cornerback out of Northwestern, is the pick for me here. I mean, you could go with some guys up front. Jalen Phillips might work here. Like I said, Christian Barmore might work here. But like I said, I heard there's some things going on with him. Jeremiah Owusu, I told you I'm a fan of him as well. But I think that Greg Newsome is the pick there. Now you're moving on to my New York Jets. To Zach Wilson at 2.
No, for me it's actually easy. I had this straight through, whether you agree or disagree. I really do think that they try to attack the position, and I have you guys being the first team to take a running back, and that's Najee Harris.
Wow.
At 23. Yep.
So you couldn't see it here, but I had my mouse over Elijah Vera-Tucker. I'm a big Elijah Vera-Tucker fan. Love to see them shore up the offensive line even more. You know, they added Tevin Coleman, so they don't necessarily need a running back desperately, and I think running back is pretty hefty in the second and third round, so they could have got him later. But I understand the pick. Najee Harris looks like a mutant when he's running the ball. We all saw him hurdle.
You haven't had, I mean, you guys tried it with the Le'Veon Bell and
haven't had a running back in years.
Case ruined that, but you guys haven't been able to get star level production from a running back in I don't know how long.
Forever.
So I think they're going to try to take a swing at it, and they'll never feel bad about adding offensive weapons to now what's going to be a new rookie quarterback.
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely don't mind the pick. Like I said, I would have preferred Elijah Vera-Tucker because I think that puts them in a really good spot. They could take a running back in round 2 or round 3 and still be in a really good spot. But Najee Harris in round 1, their second pick, you know, you give Zach Wilson another weapon. I'm definitely not mad. 24 Steelers. Cornerback is in shambles. Steven Nelson left. It feels like everybody's leaving. They may or may not need a wide receiver. We don't know if Juju's happy. He's on a 1-year deal. Chase Claypool. It's a weird spot, and obviously here, offensive tackle and interior offensive line are team needs. Running back is a team need because James Conner is gone. Obviously, we just took Najee Harris, but I don't think they hesitate to go Travis Etienne out of Clemson. I think he fits what they want to do really well. He's really, really good catching the ball out of the backfield. I think he's a big problem there. He fits into a Le'Veon Bell mold really well.
Would you have gotten Najee Harris if he was there, or are you still going?
I would. I think Najee is just slightly better than Etienne. I think in pretty much every situation, Najee Harris goes above Etienne. But yeah, I think with the James Conner thing, they don't really have a guy there. I think they try and just slot in Travis Etienne and see what happens.
Gotcha. This one's interesting. I mean, like I said, I'm a big fan of whatever you end up doing when you take a rookie quarterback. I think what ends up following should still be helping that rookie quarterback. It should be that for a while, actually, before you start addressing other needs, unless you really do have a defense so pitiful that nobody can wrap their head around it.
I like this.
But with Jacksonville taking the number 1 quarterback prospect since Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, it's important to give him what he needs to succeed. What positions that end up being, because you're going to attack running back, you attack wide receiver, you attack protection of interior or the tackles on offensive line. I'm going Elijah Moore. Give him another target. They end up losing wide receiver actually to you guys, right?
Keelan Cole.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think giving as many, and I wouldn't even say any elite weapons, but weapons in general, you don't want to be starved of targets to work with.
No,
I think it's important to get him something that you can gain some sort of chemistry with. And there's obviously talent. Elijah Moore's good. You know?
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I mean, I don't think, personally, I think I might have gone Alex Leatherwood, but I don't blame you for the Elijah Moore pick. He looked really, really good all season at Ole Miss. Obviously, we've seen Ole Miss wide receivers succeed in the NFL, and DK Metcalf, or is that Ole Miss? DK Metcalf and AJ Brown were both Ole Miss, right? I'm not losing my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've seen Ole Miss wide receivers succeed in the NFL. So, hopefully Elijah Moore follows the mold. Yeah, that's real solid. I agree with the philosophy of helping out your number 1 overall pick, a quarterback, with another offensive weapon. Moving on to the Browns, obviously they have edge here. May not be as big a need now that they added Jadeveon Clowney. Yep.
Only 1 year though. That's only 1 year.
This is true. Hanging around here though is Jalen Phillips, and at this point, even though I'm not as high on Jalen Phillips, I think he's fallen too far. And I think I don't even question. The Browns got to take Jalen Phillips. They need the edge pressure. Like I said, it might be a little bit more questionable come draft time because they added Jadeveon Clowney, but he also hasn't been himself. So Jalen Phillips off the board to the Cleveland Browns.
Got it. Ravens should run on some tight time here.
Yeah.
So Ravens needs right now. They have edge as well. I don't know much really about him. Joe Tryon? Or Treon?
Yeah. No, he's definitely a good player.
I don't know how much of a stretch it would be to take him, but you know what? I think offensive line with the quarterback like Lamar Jackson, the way they have to run their offense, and just offensive line being important in general, I'll end up going with Alex Leatherwood.
All right, so I'm bad, and I clicked Joe Tryon.
So you gotta wait.
Yeah, I suck. So you're saying Leatherwood?
Yeah.
All right, so obviously I'm an idiot, but Alex Leatherwood off the board to the Ravens. At 28, the Saints are here. They presumably have their quarterback. Who really knows? I don't think so. They think so. Cornerback, wide receiver, edge are all needs. Michael Thomas, not as great last year. I don't see cornerback being too big of a need, quite honestly, even though it's listed here as their biggest need. I feel like Marshawn Lattimore's a problem still. But I think like I said, Jeremiah Owusu is a big name here. I'm a big fan, and I think he comes off the board here to the Saints. Need a little bit of defensive help.
I like it. As far as the Green Bay Packers, I would do anything to get better on. I mean, originally I was going to say their offensive line. I know they have missing pieces there and a hole now with two, but I also saw issues in their defense as well that were evident in the playoffs. I don't really know if they go cornerback here, but I think they might end up having to go cornerback here. So for us, best available there would be Eric Stokes.
That's fair, yeah. Eric Stokes out of Georgia, obviously the second Georgia cornerback off the board. Not a slight against him, for sure, because Georgia's defense was pretty damn good this year. It had a lot of pieces. And that definitely fills a need for them, because, good Lord, look what happened in the playoffs. Whoever that was, I can't even remember who it was. Kevin King, I think, got torched. It's rough. The Bills, my AFC East rivals, who I'm not even that mad that they're good.
You should be mad.
I'm a big Bills Mafia fan, bro. At this point, obviously, cornerback and edge are both needs. Owe is interesting. However, I made the mistake before of taking Tryon off the board when it should have been Alex Leatherwood. I'm going to pick Alex Leatherwood here, but it's probably going to be Tryon to the Bills.
Sense.
Yeah, just flip-flop those guys around on the screen there. Alex Leatherwood and Joe Tryon, reverse those two. He goes to the Bills, adds a little bit of edge pressure, make that defense a little bit better, make it easier on the corners. Obviously, their offense works real well. Josh Allen looked real good. Put him right back in the playoffs.
Yep. For me, I go falling onto the Ravens. I don't think you end up getting the picks or multiple picks in the first round without wanting to walk away with the biggest position in need. So edge being that, I would go edge, and it'd be, I'm not sure if you pronounce the last name, but Jason Owe.
Yeah. Jason Owe from Penn State, the other linebacker there, as bad as that sounds, but when when the other one is Micah Parsons, it's a real problem. Another one that ran like a mutant level for a 40-yard dash, like a 4.32 or some nonsense at like 275 pounds. He's going to be flying off the edge. It's going to be real hard for offensive tackles to stop him. And I get to close it out. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers retained everybody.
Oh yeah, who cares?
They still have all their players somehow. Tom Brady is going to be getting paid until 2050 because he keeps putting off his salary so that they can sign players around him. In this spot, I said it before, I wanted him to the Jets. You obviously didn't predict him there. Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC, interior offensive lineman. Big man, people mover, he's a problem. I love him there. Not even a question, protect old man Brady there. Maybe, make it a little bit easier on the running game, Ronald Jones and the little two-headed monster there. Turn that team into a problem while also building for a Tom Brady-less future.
So who do you got?
Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC.
Gotcha. Not bad.
Yeah? No, that wraps it up. I mean, there weren't a lot of picks that I hated in either direction. I would have preferred Vera Tucker to the Jets, is what it is. I'm not mad about Najee Harris. Anything in particular that you thought, before we wrap this up? Any of the picks that we made that you weren't, or that I made that you weren't sure about?
I just don't think Waddle. I really don't think Waddle goes top 6. I don't think he's the first wide receiver or the second wide receiver taken after Jamar Chase. But the great part about it is that we're going to find out exactly how it shakes down this Thursday, being day one. And like I said, I'm totally serious. $100 on the line for every listener who can confirm they listen. If our draft somehow ends up perfect, which we know won't happen, but the money is out there and put myself out there. I'm good. I'm excited for the Giants either way. Say what you need to say.
I'm good. Obviously, draft time, my favorite time of the year, without question. Start of the MLB season, and we get football. Some of the biggest football moments of the year in the draft, not even a question. Zach Wilson to the Jets. We're making the playoffs this year. Hot take. There it is.
Yeah, trash day. Trash day.
Listen, man. We won't know.
Later.
Later, guys.